Following a 14-day compliance enforcement exercise in the 17 districts of Acholi and Lango sub-regions, the National Drug Authority has closed 830 unlicensed drug shops operating in the area. The operation saw several people arrested and drugs worth over 200 million shillings seized. Now, to give us insights into what is really going on is Abiaz Ramwiri, the National Drug Authority spokesperson. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, the authority has been on a wide range of, enforcement exercise. What really is happening and what could have prompted this exercise?
We undertook an enforcement operations in northern Uganda. That's we have a regional office that focuses on Lango and Acholi sub-region. And this was a planned enforcement operation. After our surveillance mapped out those so many outlets that you have mentioned, over 830. Right. Now, those include drug shops, pharmacies, and clinics. We do not regulate clinics, but we found it has become a habit of several people running either illegal clinics without a license from the Allied, who is a sister agency in the Ministry of Health, but also some intentionally, because of our stringent monitoring measures. They start as clinics, then they bring in drugs and start displaying and selling direct to the public, which contravenes both our law and the one of Allied. But also many drug shops opened by unqualified people. Some even had submitted requests or applications to us, and we declined because they didn't have the qualifications. Knowing that medicines are very sensitive, they must be in the hands of those who can be able to dispense them.
Actually have the knowledge.
Absolutely.
So you mean to tell me that of all the 830 drugstores that you closed, none of them had the license? Take us through. Probably it is a very difficult process to acquire a license. Take us through the process of one getting a license, because 830 drugstores, this is quite a huge number.
Now, as you highlighted, this was in 17 districts. Just to let you know that in that region, we have more than 2,000 registered. So we are not depriving people access to medicine. We're actually weeding out the wrong characters. We have the easiest licensing guidelines. One, you must be a qualified person. If you're going to be in a drug shop, you should be at least an enrolled nurse. If you're going to start a pharmacy, you should be having a pharmacist. And if you look at the fees we charge, very minimal. We are not a revenue collector. We are there to protect the public. So the fees are really for paper processing. You can imagine a drug shop pays not more than 130,000 Uganda shillings. That is annual. The entire year. If you look at the resources we spend on surveillance and monitoring them and chasing after the illegal ones, it can't match how much we charge. So the question is, if you have the qualifications, a trained personnel, or if you're a businessman, you need to look for that person you're going to employ who is qualified. If where you're going to put that the premises where you're going to run your business should be suitable. So we issue suitability premises clearance, where we look at, do you have a sealing, minimum sealing, so that these drugs are not, exposed to high temperatures? Do you have clean shelves? Because drugs are very sensitive products. And is your floor clean? And then we will issue that, but also give you guidelines. Not selling government of Uganda drugs. We found some of the outlets. We found them selling government of Uganda drugs, and even if you are licensed, when you find you selling government of Uganda drugs, we definitely have to withdraw our license, because that is using our approved premises to commit crime. So the issue is not about if we have stringent or if it is difficult to get a license. It's that people want shortcuts, and shortcuts around drug dealing risks lives, because we've always mentioned that there is a thin line between drug and poison. It is how it is used, how it is stored, and who dispenses it. So whereas people have been seeing on social media, people commenting about this operation, how we have denied people access to drugs, how we've taken more than 800 people out of business. They are not looking at the picture of how much risk there is if we let wrong characters handle drugs. Just one box of medicine, wrong medicine or poorly dispensed medicine can clear an entire city like Kampala. So while we want people to make money in the drug business, we are not there to assist people to make money, but to protect Ugandans, because that is where, as a National Drug Authority, that's where we draw our mandate, to protect Ugandans. And like you clearly mentioned, this is just for complying. So if we're able to comply, most of the drugs, the boxes we collected, those who comply, we've given them such certificates and clearly marked their boxes. If you comply, we actually give you back your drugs if at that point they are still not expired, they are still valid, their shelf life is still running. But I also want to mention that we had to, and during this enforcement is where we discovered the routing that was happening at Kitugum Hospital, where we found 2 of the hospital staff had actually taken away close to 1.5 billion worth of medicines and medical equipment. We have
taken to their private.
Yeah, they were
clinics.
stealing. They were stealing. The saying of stealing from the sick. So Government of Uganda drugs were sniffed out. We found them in two in the drug shops owned by one of the pharmacy technician. Another one at the home of a lab technician who was hiding those boxes at his home.
So what is going to happen to these drugs that you have impounded and also those suspects that were arrested that you're talking about?
We have 3 suspects. The key prime one, Akena Robert, who was a technician, a pharmacy technician at Kitugum, is on run. Police is hunting him down. But we have preferred charges against the 3: illegal possession of classified drugs, which contravenes our National Drug Authority Act, carrying out the business of a pharmacist without a license, but most importantly, illegal possession of government stores, which contravenes the penal code. And if found guilty, can serve up to 10 years.
Okay.
We've been getting questions of if we actually are able to prosecute. Yes, we have some people who are serving actually 10 years in prison from our convictions.
Okay, then finally, as we wrap up this conversation, what is your next step in this enforcement exercise?
We are not one is going to follow up these cases to ensure that the culprits are prosecuted, but also we are keeping an eye on the entire drug supply chain to protect Ugandans. These enforcements are not limited to northern Uganda region, they are ongoing. Some are triggered by intelligence and others are, like I mentioned, our normal routine enforcement operations.
Thank you so much.